Are you a fan of zombie survival games? Are you a fan of medieval battle games? If you are, then this might be the game for you. This is God Save Birmingham, a hardcore survival zombie game set in medieval Birmingham. Doom has come to Birmingham and you are the last soul alive, surviving an undead plague in a painstakingly recreated medieval market town. Manage your needs, master physics-based mechanics and evade the horde for as long as you can. Set in 14th century real Birmingham, they've handcrafted a real-world time from the UK and transported it to a zombie survival game, which is really cool, and I'm very excited for this. If you are a fan of games like this and love the sound of this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stick around for much more God Save Birmingham content. We're going to have tons on this game as and when we get more news. Now currently we have no news on a release date. It's developed by Ocean Drive Studio and published by the same guys alongside Keiko Games. Now, Ocean Drive Studio have a very rich development history with tons of titles behind them, such as Veil of the Witch and Section 13, with loads of other random little bits as well. They seem like a relatively reputable studio with a decent amount of stuff there, and a lot of the reviews on their other games are relatively positive, which is great news. Now, just a few days ago, the team released an 8.5-minute video showcasing everything you need in God Save Birmingham. Now, the game is a very sort of hardcore survival game. You're going to need to manage a lot of food, a lot of drink, a lot of sleep, and you're not going to be moving fast and ripping through zombies like there's no tomorrow. The key to this game is going to be surviving for as long as you can in a sort of real-world simulation. You're obviously not going to be going out there just slaying zombies like some nomad. This game is not about that. It is about surviving and trying to thrive whilst you try and avoid the zombies for as much as possible. Now, as you'll be able to see in the video that's going on in the background, the combat seems relatively slow-paced, and you will get outnumbered and outmatched very quickly. The zombies are slow, sluggish, but they're also very powerful, which allows them to overtake you easily. Just 2 or 3 of them will be able to bring you down and take you out. So you will have to think about every situation that you go into, whether it's worth going in there for that wine and cheese, or those few boards that you need to board up your window. Either way, things are going to get tough relatively quick, and it seems like so far the overall premise is just going to be about surviving for as long as you can. Now, it is a single-player only game. There's no news on whether it's going to be coming to consoles at any point yet, but this brand new trailer shows off loads and loads of cool stuff. Now, it's going to be releasing into early access. As I've mentioned, we don't have a release date yet, but God Save Birmingham is a zombie apocalypse survival game set in 14th century Birmingham, and the early access version is going to focus on a sandbox mode utilizing a small portion of the town. The full town will be available at official release, with a campaign mode coming later to complete the experience. The strange plague that sweeps the countryside has transformed men into monsters and cities into slaughterhouses. You are one of the last survivors of Birmingham, alone against the shambling corpses of your former friends and neighbours. The only thing that's protecting you are your wits. Now, as it has those hardcore elements, such as trying to survive and keeping your nourishment at right levels, you will need to be doing a hell of a lot of that. Life does go on for you, although others are dead. You've got to forage for supplies, craft tools and weapons, and set out on the hunt for food, water and shelter. The clock is always ticking and the horde is always near. Now, that does make me think that you won't be able to actually set up a base of operations and stay in one area and build a good supply of stuff. It does seem like you're going to have to be moving from hut to shack to then later down the line into the big castles to keep yourself alive, as the horde is going to be following your presence very, very closely. Whether they're going to be drawn by sort of sound, or whether you are in the same area for long, smells will bring them in, not 100% sure on how that's going to work. But I do like the idea that it will sort of keep you on the move, and you're not going to have that way of sort of going defensive and trying to kick back the horde every night, similar to sort of like Survive the Night. It's going to make you survive through moving continuously and taking some resources with you for the road, and then setting up a base for a few days and building up supplies again, and then doing the same thing but exploring the town more and more. Now, when there's a game and sort of mission and campaign mode later down the line, things are going to probably be a little bit different. But in the sandbox mode, I think it is just going to be the very basics of moving around the town and surviving for as long as possible. It's sort of like a arcade sort of timed mode. So the longer you survive, the better you're doing. Now, one of the big features of the game is physics. As you'll be able to see in the trailer, a lot of things are focused on the physics of the game. You will be able to trip over things, you'll stumble, zombies will do the same, you'll be able to move furniture to accomplish goals such as climbing up into vents and climbing out of windows. You'll also be able to use ladders to bridge gaps between buildings and walk across them and then knock them down to keep the zombies at a bit more of a fighting distance, which I really like the idea of the physics in this, being able to throw things at the zombies to slow them down, block the doors and climb over furniture and move things into exactly where you want it to explore the map ever more. I absolutely love that. I think that's really, really quite cool. Now, the physics is going to be one of the most important factors in the game, and it will be able to take you down as well as the zombies. If you're not careful and you're sprinting through areas, you'll be able to trip over things. Now, we've seen the combat is already relatively slow. So is that going to be the same with you tripping over things? It's going to take your time to get back up, especially if you've not got that full health that's needed. Either way, it's a very welcome change to some of the other zombie survival games that are a lot more sort of hack and slash, get rid of as many as you can to keep your area safe. This is going to be avoiding as many as possible. It does remind me, especially a little bit at the start of the combat and movement, of a sort of Resident Evil style survival game, which I really quite like. I do love the idea of this game. I've been following it for quite a while, but over the past few weeks we've seen a lot more content and a lot more news from them. When I originally started following them, it was a very short trailer and there wasn't really too much to it. I don't think that's there anymore. I'm not 100% sure if they've changed it or not, but still, very excited. Now, as well as that, there's also a big part of history in the game, because they've carefully reconstructed 14th century Birmingham in all its bucolic and bubonic glory. Stop by the markets or the Burbage plots and forage for resources, raid boarded up smithies for tools and grab a drink in the nearest tavern, and explore the historic architecture at the Church of St. Martin in the Bullring. Now, if you don't know what the Bullring is, it's pretty much the centre of Birmingham. Birmingham, well, lovely place, yeah. Probably was a bit better back then than what it is right now, if I'm honest. Especially with all the rats and, yeah. If you live in the UK, you'll know what I mean. Birmingham's not what it used to be. Now, overall though, very excited for this. It looks awesome, sounds really, really cool. I'm not 100% sure if a lot of people are going to gel with the sort of really slowness of the combat styles. It does look like it's going to be very methodical, not so much hack and slash and shooting the shit out of anything that moves. So I'm quite excited to see how that goes down with the players and how they're going to incorporate that into the later stages of the game. Will you be able to upgrade your character? Will you get stronger as time goes on? We'll have to wait and see, because they've not said anything about sort of a progression system or anything of that sort just yet. But now, though, we are going to wrap that one up there. We don't know anything else about God Save Birmingham, but I'm very excited for the game to release. Hopefully we see at least either a release window, so a quarter, or some more trailers in the next few weeks. But now that is it from me. I'm going to wrap that one up there. I've been Wired, you guys have been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.